Hi. Hopefully you're watching this because you've just watched my first video on why Agile projects fail and are keen, nay excited to learn more about the causes of Agile project failure and what to do about them. If you've come straight here, why not have a look at the previous video in the series? The second major reason that Agile projects fail is because the client is unable to communicate what they want the solution to do clearly to the team. Loads of times over the years I've had people come to me complaining that the client doesn't know what they want. Well, this is hardly ever true. The client does know what they want. What they don't know is how to describe what they want in a language that can be understood by the team charged with providing the solution. Let's dig a little deeper into this. Say you have a customer that you do work for. On a Monday, the customer comes to you and says, "I want you to do this for me." 2 weeks later, you come back to them and say, "Here it is, it's done." They take a look at it and say, "Yep, it's done," and everyone's happy. If you think about this, in order to satisfy the customer, you have to have the same understanding of what done means. Apply this to Agile projects. You now have the situation where every 2 weeks or every month or whatever, you're presenting stuff to your client and saying, "Here it is, it's done." Every time there's an opportunity for the client to say, "That's not what I meant at all." If you don't understand what the customer wants, that's going to become obvious pretty quickly. Contrast this with a traditional project. Typically, a third of the total time required to complete the project is spent writing the requirements specification. This results, theoretically at least, in a common understanding of what done means. For Agile projects, this common understanding has to apply each time that the team embarks on the next chunk of work. Of course, this makes it a bit easier than traditional projects, as they only need to understand 2 to 4 weeks worth of work. The team needs to know what done means, otherwise they'll spend most of the time trying to figure out what they're meant to be delivering and firing questions back to the client rather than getting stuff done. In Scrum, one of the most popular Agile methodologies, this problem is supposedly solved through the appointment of a product owner. The product owner's role, and I quote, is to be the sole person responsible for managing the product backlog, which is simply a list of the stuff that needs delivering on the project. They are responsible for clearly expressing product backlog items and ensuring the development team understands items in the product backlog to the level needed. This, in my opinion, is the most important role in the whole of Scrum and the one that most often gets shortchanged. In order to be an effective product owner, you need 3 things. 1, you need to understand what is to be delivered from the customer's point of view. 2, you need enough technical knowledge so that you can understand what you're asking for from the team and so that you can answer any queries from the team in a way that they can understand. 3, most of all, you need a lot of guts. You need to be able to take decisions on a day-by-day basis that will fundamentally affect what is delivered, how it performs, and indeed whether it is delivered at all. Now, there's lots more that I want to say about product owners, but I'll leave that for a later video. Given that it is very unlikely that your project will have a single person with a combination of technical skills, communication abilities, and the sheer arrogance required to fulfill the role of product owner, what should you do as a project manager? Well, firstly, get hold of the best person that you can that can speak the customer's language on your team. If you're doing software development, this person might be a business analyst or maybe a solution architect. 2, get them on the project as quickly as possible and get them talking to the customer to flesh out their requirements. The key thing is to identify the requirements that need to be done first and get those to a state where there's a common understanding of what done means. You need to give that person as much room as possible to get far enough ahead so that they can keep the team fed with clearly understandable requirements at the start of each chunk of delivery. And 4, about halfway through each chunk of delivery, hold a meeting with the team to discuss the stuff that's coming up for delivery in the next chunk. Make sure that they speak out about anything that's being asked for that they don't understand or think doesn't fit the goals of the entire project. And get your customer liaison, or whatever they're called, to clarify with the customer before development starts. Now, Agile purists will say that you should not allow the team to work on anything where there is not a full understanding of what done means. Now, I'm not so dogmatic about this, partly because it's really hard to do, but mainly because a lot of the time the team will not know that they don't understand what done means until they try and do it. And remember, the only true test of whether they've got it right is when the customer sees it and they says, yep, that's what I wanted. And with Agile, that's going to happen every 2 to 4 weeks. I hope you have found that useful. I've got a couple more major reasons for Agile project failure to go, and I'll be posting up videos about them over the next few weeks. Please subscribe if you want to learn more.